Some histories are written in ink. Others are carved into stone with a bloodied axe. The year is 1007. A wild green coast. Leif Erikson called this land Vinland. A land of grapes and timber, a land of promise. In our time, his people came, saw, and left. But in this story, the sea itself turned against them. A hurricane, a monster of the Atlantic, shattered their ships. Their path home was gone. They were marooned. A handful of families stranded at the edge of the world. Their leader was not a king, but a shield maiden named Freydis. She saw despair in their eyes, but she refused to yield. "Valhalla can wait," she said. "We build our home here." The first winter was a nightmare, a frozen hell. Many died. The cold was a relentless enemy. They were not explorers now. They were ghosts, haunting a forest. Then came the first encounter. The Springer, the Beothic and Micmac people, the true masters of this land. At first, there was fear, mistrust, and bloodshed. The sagas tell of this conflict. But a saga ends when the poet puts down the lyre. Life goes on. Survival demands more than just fighting. An orphaned Norse boy, lost in the woods, was found and returned by a Micmac hunting party. A small act of mercy. A seed of change. Freydis saw that war would lead to extinction. She chose a different path. Cautious, armed trade. Norse iron for indigenous knowledge of the land. How to survive the winters. How to hunt the strange beasts. Where to find the herbs that healed sickness. It was a fragile piece, tested daily, but it held. It had to. Slowly, the settlement of Grenalander grew. They were no longer just Norse. The children born in this land knew no other home. They spoke a mix of Old Norse and Algonquian. They worshipped the Allfather but respected the Great Spirit. Their longhouses were built with Viking tools, but insulated with techniques learned from their neighbors. They learned to cultivate maize, a miracle crop. It gave them food security their ancestors never knew. They were changing. The land was changing them. By 1100, they were a people of 100 families. Their explorers, using hybrid longship canoes, pushed down the coast and into the great rivers. They found the ruins of a greater people to the south, the mound builders of the Mississippian culture. They learned from their systems of government and trade. They were becoming something new. They were becoming Vinlanders. They forged runestones, but the stories they told were of caribou hunts and alliances with the people of the dawn. The connection to the old world was a fading dream. A story told by grandparents of a land of ice and kings. But they did not forget how to work iron. Their smiths became legendary. They crafted steel axes, plows, and armor. This technology spread through indigenous trade networks. It transformed the continent, slowly but surely. The horse, brought on their shattered ships, thrived. By 1250, great horse-riding nations were forming on the plains. But they were not the warring tribes of our timeline. They were organized confederacies, armed with Vinland steel. The Vinlanders themselves pushed south to the Great Lakes. Here they found immense deposits of copper, and something else. Something that would change everything. Silver. Veins of it shining in the rock. The Vinlanders, with their Norse heritage, knew its value. They began to mine it, to mint it, to hoard it. They were no longer just survivors. They were becoming a kingdom built on cooperation, adaptation, and steel. A power hidden in the heart of a vast continent. By 1400, their capital Lead was a bustling city of thousands. Stone long halls stood beside majestic totem poles. Their great council had chiefs from a dozen tribes, as well as the descendants of Freydis, the Jarls of Vinland. They were strong. They were prosperous. They were proud. But they were also isolated. The ocean was a barrier they had not yet dared to cross again. Some believed there was nothing left of the old world, that it had drowned in the sea. Others scanned the eastern horizon every morning, They felt a change in the wind, a sense of foreboding, of destiny. The world was much larger than they knew, and it was coming for them. In Spain, a queen was listening to an Italian navigator. He spoke of a westward route to the riches of the East. He had no idea what was truly waiting for him. Not an empty continent, not a path to India, but the children of the long winter. And their story was just beginning. The world was about to be broken and remade. The Silver Kingdom, the year is 1492. In Europe, it is the dawn of an age of exploration. In Vinland, it is the 12th generation of the Silver Kings. The Jarl of is a man named Bjorn Halfhand, a descendant of both Viking settlers and Anishinaabe chiefs. His kingdom is a sprawling network of trade and tribute, from the icy north to the warm southern rivers. Their runic script is used to record treaties, written on birch bark in the indigenous style. Their religion is a tapestry of old gods and new spirits. They launch dragon ships onto the Great Lakes. These are not the open ocean vessels of their ancestors. They are larger, clad in metal, powered by oar and sail. They control the continent's heartland. Further south, the Aztec and Inca empires have heard rumors of the pale men of the north and their shining metal. They have traded for their steel, but have never met them. The entire continent is aware of the Vinland presence. It has shaped their politics, their wars, their technology. There was no room for a conquest as we know it. There was only room for diplomacy or war with equals. And then he arrived. On the shores of the Caribbean, Columbus made landfall. He found the people. He saw gold. He saw weakness. He returned to Spain with stories of a new world, ripe for the taking. Unspoiled, ungoverned, he was catastrophically wrong. The Spanish returned with soldiers, priests, and guns. But news traveled fast. Through vast trade networks, sent word north. Of strange ships, of men with fire sticks, of a new threat. The Vinlanders listened. They had heard the old stories of a world across the sea. The stories were true, and that world was coming with violence in its heart. Jarl Bjorn did not wait for the threat to reach his borders. He was a man of action, like his ancestors. He assembled the great fleet, not just Vinlanders, but Cree allies, Haudenosaunee warriors, a navy drawn from the nations of a unified continent. In 1510, the Spanish tried to establish a major colony. On the coast of what we call Florida, they expected to fight scattered, frightened tribes. They did not expect what came down the coast to meet them. A fleet of 100 silver-prowed ships, manned by warriors in steel helmets and jaguar pelts, armed with steel axes, powerful longbows, and a cold fury. The battle was short and brutal. Spanish firearms were slow to reload. Their armor was hot. The Vinlanders were fighting for their home. Nay, overwhelmed the invaders. They captured men, cannons, and 3 Spanish caravels. The shock in the courts of Europe was absolute. This was not a new world. It was a rival power. Who were these people? Where did they come from? The Vinlanders interrogated their prisoners. For the first time, they understood the world that had forgotten them. A world of powerful kings, religious strife, and immense greed. They learned of their firearms, and they began to copy them. Their own smiths, masters of steel, improved upon the designs. The Silver Kingdom was now armed with gunpowder. Europe was stunned. The discovery had become a crisis. England, France, Portugal, they all sent ships, not just to conquer, but to understand, to negotiate. This America was not a prize to be won. It was a new player on the world stage. The Vinlanders established coastal trading forts. They traded silver and furs for European technology, clocks, printing presses, scientific instruments. They learned quickly, adapted faster. They sent emissaries to the Aztec and Inca, warning them, trading with them, forming alliances. The history of the Americas was no longer one of conquest. It was one of a massive continental arms race. The diseases came, the great poxes, they devastated the population, as in our timeline. But this America did not collapse. Their organized nations and medical knowledge, a blend of Norse remedies and indigenous botany, allowed them to endure, to recover, to rebuild. By 1600, the map of the world was utterly different. Europe had small colonies on the coast, but the interior belonged to the great powers, the Vinland Confederacy, the Aztec Triple Alliance, the new Haudenosaunee League armed with rifles, the horse nations of the plains united under a great Khan. America was a hornet's nest. To invade was to invite ruin. So Europe traded, and schemed, and watched. The Silver Kingdom had held the line. They had forged a continent of fire and steel. They had saved their world by force of will. But this new, interconnected planet was entering an age of global empires. The fight for survival was over. The fight for the future of the planet had just begun.
The shore of two worlds, this is the world they made. The present day, there is no United States of America. North America is a mosaic of nations. It's a great Vinlandic commonwealth, stretching from the lakes to the sea. Its capital, a wonder of the world, a city of canals, long halls, and glass pyramids. The Haudenosaunee Republic, a bastion of democracy. The Shoshone Cognate, rulers of the Western Plains. European descendants hold nations on the coasts, the Republic of New Normandy, the Viceroyalty of New Spain. They are trading partners and bitter rivals. The Industrial Revolution happened everywhere at once. Fueled by global competition, the skies are dirtier. The world is scarred by proxy wars, fought in Africa, in Asia, between the great power blocks. The European Alliance, the American Confederacies. The world never had one single superpower. It is a world of tense, dangerous balance. Technology is advanced, but focused on warfare. Armored airships patrol the skies. Great land battleships crawl across the contested plains. The Vinlanders sent a man to the moon in the 1960s. Not with rockets, but with a massive cannon, as Verne imagined. A gesture of power and defiance. But this world's soul is different. The exchange between the old world and the new was two-way. European philosophy was influenced by indigenous ideas. Concepts of personal liberty, of connection to the land. The Enlightenment had a different, wilder flavor. The art of this world is a stunning fusion. Runic calligraphy, totem pole, skyscrapers. European symphonies played with Native American drums. It is a louder, more colorful, more contentious world. There was no single story of progress. There were 1,000 stories all shouting to be heard. This world has no illusions about peace. It was born from a clash of civilizations. And that clash has never truly ended. It makes you look at our own history. The price of our unity was conquest, subjugation, the erasure of thousands of cultures. Their world is divided, dangerous, and often brutal. But it is also more diverse, more complete. The voices that were silenced in our timeline are roaring in theirs. Is a tense and balanced world better than one built on a wound? Is a difficult truth better than a simple peace? There is no easy answer. The Vinland Saga is a story of survival, but it is also a story of identity, a story of how cultures meet, clash, and create the new. A reminder that history is not a straight line. It is a raging river with 1,000 currents. The smallest stone can change its course forever. The choice of a shield maiden on a forgotten shore. The mercy of a hunter in a lonely wood. These are the things that build new worlds. This world, born of the long winter, is a testament to the unbreakable will to endure. It is a harder world than ours, but maybe a prouder one. Every nation on its soil knows it fought for its place. There are no easy victories, no simple truths. Only the shore of two worlds and the endless tide. We are left to wonder if the Vikings' greatest discovery was not a continent, but a new way of being human. Fusion of old and new, of axe and feather, of the wanderer and the one who waits. Thank you for walking this path with us, for exploring this shore of what might have been. Our past is full of these ghost worlds, these echoes of choices not made. I believe exploring them helps us understand our own. If this saga moved you, leave a like to support our channel. It helps us create more stories like this one. Subscribe so you never miss a journey. Now, we want to hear from you. What do you think of the world the Vinlanders made? A chaotic dystopia or a more just and balanced reality? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Your passion for history fuels our own. What path should we explore next? What turning point in time deserves a second look? Share your ideas with our community. We are all explorers of the past, and together, we can uncover its infinite secrets. History is not just what happened. It's a warning, a lesson, a promise. It is the story we tell ourselves about who we are. Thank you for being a part of our story. We are grateful for your time and your curiosity. May your own path be guided by courage and wonder, like those who survived the long winter. Until next time, stay curious. Never stop asking, what if?